I feel guilty. I thought it was Gino's drink and it was Floren.
That's not on you.
What happened? Her husband got crazy on me.
For this like persona that comes out and it's anger and it's...
It really needs deep therapy.
It's interesting because Jasmine wants to talk about how, you know, she feels guilty for taking and throwing Floren's drink because she thought it was Gino's drink, okay? But in that same conversation, rather than Stacy acknowledging what Jasmine's feeling guilty about, Stacy is more focused on the fact that she was worried about the reaction or the outcome of what could have happened if Floren had gone too far, because she's already aware of what he's like when he's under the influence of drink. So if anything, Stacy's basically kind of like, she's kind of telling us like there's a bigger picture to the story here. The story is not as simple as you think, Jasmine. It's not the fact that you accidentally took the wrong drink and put it on the floor. It's about the fact of, I know what reaction would have come from it. And that is what I am most concerned about. I'm most concerned about protecting you and protecting all of us from the reaction that we could have got from him. And that is what has made Stacy sad. But also on top of that, it is what has put her in a position where she was being prepared to actually be embarrassed. So yeah, and I get it. So, but it's good that, of course, the ladies are there for each other to give each other that kind of, reassurance with the physical support.
I feel guilty.
I wanted to do that to you.
It's okay. I want to have a voice in this relationship, and lately I feel like whenever I express my voice, my opinion, it is taken as me bitching.
Yeah. I mean, to be honest with you, I think Jasmine has to recognize why her voice has always been taken in that way. But then at the same time, they also have to recognize to why did Jasmine ever get to a point where she had to start vocalizing herself in such a strong way, you know? Jasmine being loud and being over the top and being overreactive isn't something that was just, I mean, obviously something that was a part of her personality before Gino was even in the picture. But obviously when Gino came in her life, he did nothing to try and solve that, nothing to try and help her with it. All he ever did was do things that would obviously pretty much antagonize or gaslight her to give these reactions. So it's one of those conversations where you sit in and you say to yourself, okay, so how did Jasmine get to a point where she's now viewed as somebody that when she is trying to voice herself, her voice itself can be seen as something completely negative? Well, that's where you got to break it down. You got to look at, one, because she's carrying trauma from the past, pre-Gino. Two, because of that trauma, she allows it to be something that can easily be gaslit by anybody. So therefore, when she comes to delivering anything that she wants to say, which brings us to three, it'll always be delivered in a way where it will never be delivered in a way where it feels like as if she's trying to be cordial, or it feels as if she's trying to make sensible sense. It always feels like as if she's just being reactive, because that is what she has shown herself to be. So in this conversation here, while Jasmine is trying to have this conversation about the fact that I am misunderstood, what needs to be understood is that, one, you're with a man that pretty much gaslights you to be like that. But also, two, and this is the one that matters the most, you are allowing this man to get the better of you. Now, of course, I could sit and say that the easy answer, which I still agree is the best answer, is for her to remove herself from Gino. Gino is not the man for her. That goes without saying, but that doesn't change the fact that she may still be this reactive person in another future relationship. So she really needs to work on this reactive side of herself, because a lot of venom comes out of her energy, out of her body, when she is obviously trying to express certain things. And at the end of the day, if she wants to be taken seriously by anyone in this world, she's going to have to work on how she conducts herself towards other people, rather than, sit there and as if like she has no accountability when it comes to her own freaking actions. Just like she has no accountability when it comes to her choice to want to stay with Gino, knowing that Gino is not the man for her. And the same goes for Gino in that regard as well.
I wasn't expecting her to be calm at that point. Like, I thought she'd be more, not so calm, shocked, and I'm thinking in my head, wow, this is how we need our relationship to be.
So here's the thing. They've done this challenge, and obviously this challenge obviously involves, kayaking or rowing a boat, whatever you want to call it. And Gino's saying that he's surprised that obviously Jasmine wasn't being a bit more competitive. She wasn't being obviously all over him and all that kind of stuff, and she was being more calm than anything else. Which, listen, I agree. This is something that you want to see in their relationship. But here's the thing, though. My theory is that Jasmine has purposely held her tongue throughout this little experiment here, because she wanted to show that yes, she can be patient, yes, she can be silent, and yes, she cannot be over the top. but also at the same time, she wants to prove then what reaction Gino will give to her. Now, based on what we see for next week, it looks like as if they end up going backwards anyway. So I'm curious if there's been a pattern now that's been created by Jasmine that's going to lead into next week's episode regarding to why she decided to be cordial in this scene. So I'm not going to really comment on it right now in terms of the fact that, oh my God, this is so great that Jasmine was able to stay calm. And oh my God, it's so great that Gino was able to recognize that this is how Jasmine can be sometimes. Oh my God, it's so great that, you know, maybe this something could be the beginning of a greater future for these two. I'm not going to say that because I want to see how this plays out, especially after the promo that we saw for, the preview that we saw for next week. So with that being said, let me know your thoughts regarding Jasmine and Gino for this week's episode. But let's move on to the next one in particular. But hey, let's not forget about Stacy though. Her obviously making it abundantly clear of why, you know, she was very emotional because she was that worried about her husband and the reaction he was going to give. That is still a bigger picture too. But either way though, let's just move on to the next one.
No, not after what happened tonight.
What the is happened tonight?
I don't like the way you were talking to Jasmine, and I don't like the way you were talking to me.
So here, as you see, obviously they continue this conversation, you know, after, and Stacy obviously, you know, is saying, listen, I don't like disrespect, and you know I don't like disrespect, but yet you're still giving disrespect. When are you gonna man up? When are you gonna stop this? Now for Floren now, he's like, listen, I left my mother back home. I don't need no one to be mothering me, blah-dee-da-dee-da-dee-da-dee-da. Honestly, it is sad that some people waste their time being with somebody that doesn't want to listen to anything they got to say. That no matter what they say, they're always going to be dismissive. They're going to put them down. They're never going to be understanding. They're just never going to give a damn, you know? But the question is, though, is Floren aware of the fact that he put his wife in a position where she becomes quite fearful of how he's going to behave and becomes fearful of how other people are going to see him? Because for her, she wants to defend him all the time because she doesn't want anyone to ever see him as this bad person, you know what I'm saying? She wants everyone to always see him and see them as a couple that are doing the right thing, okay? So it makes you wonder. But anyway, we continue.
Okay?
Who is smaller Jasmine?
People don't know you. They don't know you. I know you.
Who is like this? Tell me. How these people can teach me for my life?
Now, this is a very interesting point here. She says that they don't know you. I know you. Does this mean that she's always been protecting she's always kept her relationship looking good on the outside because she knows that on the inside it can be really, really bad? And when I say really bad, I'm talking about it can be worse than her own sister's relationship with Georgia. It makes you wonder. There were questions here that have been raised. We saw the way she was when she was obviously at the bar, how she reacted, how she was there, and now we're seeing this pattern here where they've continued it in this conversation, right? And it seems to me as if she's basically trying to say that, Floren, me and you both know that you got problems. We both know that you've got problems. But we also know that we can't, but also at the same time, I don't want people to see these problems and then have to tell me that I shouldn't be with you or to say that you need help or whatever it could be, because people always want to hide things from the rest of us for a reason. Stacey's reason, who knows? Let me know what you think. Why do you think that she feels the need to have to hide this side of Floren rather than anything else? Give me your thoughts on it. But I will say this though, it is definitely evident that it's not a case of where he's ever put his hands on her necessarily. It's a case of where she just knows how erratic he can be. But let me know your thoughts. Let's move on to the next couple.
If you want to sit and fight, we can do that, or we can move past it.
You didn't invite Rob.
I didn't know Rob. I'm ready to move on.
See, I found that quite interesting though, because is that a fair point? Is that a fair point to make there? That you didn't invite Rob though? And he says, but I didn't know Rob. So you're telling me that he knew Sophie before Rob? Yeah, that one's definitely something that I personally wouldn't believe. Because here's the thing. And it's not the fact that I wouldn't believe the fact that he doesn't know Rob. I just wouldn't believe the fact that he knows Sophie but doesn't know Rob, because the question is, how do you know Sophie but you don't know Rob? That is the key question there. And that's the question Natalie should have asked him. He said, okay, well, if you don't know Rob or you didn't know Rob at the time, how comes you knew Sophie? Explain that to me. And it looks to me as if the reason why he knew Sophie is because he was more than comfortable, more than happy to slide into her DMs because he liked what he saw, rather than to, make friends with Rob first or whatever it could be. I'm just saying that is a very interesting comment to make.
Would you possibly keep kissing me and holding me? And it feels like it's an excuse to avoid the conversation.
So here's the thing. In the conversations of in particular, Josh does stop Natalie talking by giving her kisses and hugs, you know what I mean, to pretty much stop her from, you know, digging more into the situation, because he says the past is the past and we are now trying to work towards the future. Let's be real. A lot of the time when people say the past is the past and let's work towards the future, yeah, that's never necessarily a good thing, isn't it? That means somebody's trying to run away from the problems that they caused before, the problems that they had, rather than trying to solve them to make sure that the future has a better and a more stable foundation. So running away from the past without actually securing that foundation of the future means that future really isn't there, because that past is always going to be there to catch up on you, because you haven't built the mechanisms for your foundation to stop the past from becoming a problem in the future. You see what I'm saying? But hey, it's good to see that she acknowledges the fact that this man was just trying to shut her up with all the kisses and stuff, and he wasn't really trying to have that conversation. So it's good for her to be alert to this, because if she's not, well, she's going to be in for more of a heartbreak. And let's be real, the heartbreaks are always going to continue happening with these two, because their relationship was nothing but just fraudulent.
But tells me that he's here for me and only me, so now I'm kind of let it go.
As hung
Like, let's be real, Natalie. Like, really? We own that. There's no way you can sit here and tell me that you believe that this man is here to try and make things work, and that's why you're happy to let it go for now. Desperation is an ugly look on everybody.
as I am, I'm surprised we're doing so good.
No, Josh and Natalie cheating, so we are first.
It's a very key thing here to identify. So obviously in these tasks in particular, Josh and Natalie decided to change things around, which they wasn't supposed to do, okay? So therefore, this is why they've been called out for being cheaters in the game. And it does tell me this. This is what it tells me about both of these two. It tells me that both of these two are willing to take shortcuts in life, which isn't a good look on both of them. But when they get caught for cheating, let's talk about the reactions that we got from Josh compared to the reaction that we got from Natalie.
I don't feel that Josh and I cheated. We're winners.
So for Josh, he's like, who cares? It is what it is. You know, we cheated, we got caught. We'll just keep it moving. Natalie, on the other hand, nah. No.
Let's give Natalie a moment.
First of all, I'm thank you so much, but when we left the ground, you all knew we already switched, but you were fine. So cheating, and it's not fair, and we won.
So the bigger difference between these two is that Natalie can never let things go. Josh is more than happy just to keep things moving. You know, it is what it is. If he has no power over the situation, he'll just keep moving as if it never happened. And yeah, Natalie on the other hand, no, she's got to make it abundantly clear that she was never in the wrong, that she was in the right. And here's the thing, when you're in a relationship with somebody and you're seeing that you both handle things completely different to the point where one of you does things that are very embarrassing, very attention-seeking, well, then that's when you got to ask yourself a question. Do you want to be with someone like that? For me personally, hell to the no. Josh, on the other hand, well, yeah, whatever. But as far as I'm concerned, like I said before, the fact that they were both willing to cheat tells me a lot. You know? And you could say that, listen, it's nothing but a game. Just fun. But remember, this is couples therapy. So that means really and truly, instead of cheating, they're supposed to be working as an equal team. They're supposed to be working with a team that based on, don't get me wrong, yes, they worked as a team. Yes, they worked in a team based on trust. But did they really though? Because they thought, well, it's easier for us to just cheat our way to the win rather than us to actually take the stairs and actually work on this properly together to see if we can get the win together properly. Which is basically an example of their relationship. Their relationship is literally ignore all the issues and then just keep going. You're just cheating the system. Rather than stopping, having a conversation, trying to solve it, and then seeing what you can do. Now, granted, Natalie does try time and time again to try and have a serious conversation with Josh, and Josh is the one that pretty much bypasses the conversation every single time. Okay? Which again tells you, that Natalie is more than happy to try and have a serious conversation, but if Josh doesn't want to have it, she's more than happy just to let it go, and Josh never wants to have a serious conversation. In this game here, rather than trying to have rather than take it seriously without cheating, they said, you know what, it is what it is. This is what we do anyway. We just keep it moving regardless of the consequences. And when the consequences come, we'll scream about it, yeah, we'll complain about it, but it is what it is. Honestly, it's a sad relationship. It's a sad way to be. Anyway, we continue.
Benny and I are not good at working together. He does not like the way I do things, and I tend to not like the way he does things. And this is exactly typical of how the relationship is, because all I'm trying to do is tell him, you know, something simple, and he immediately goes, "You're trying to control me." And
here's the thing, isn't it? When it comes to these two here, I mean, obviously we all know that their relationship is done anyway, but it is quite sad that they couldn't even work together just to, you know, get over the line properly. But this does tell you, it tells you that when it comes to Beniam is so far gone in this relationship, he's just on a solo mission now. He's not there to try and get the relationship going. He's there for the freaking password, you know, and for the paycheck. Let's not forget the paycheck, all right? And apart from that, he's just on pure solo mode. But at the same time, though, is Beniam the kind of person that even if he wants to be with you, even if he's in love with you, is he the kind of person that would still want to listen to his woman help him in situations to do things that are deemed as competitive? If you ask me, no. I think he's somebody that, you know, needs to win. And because he needs to win, he doesn't care about anyone else. He doesn't care about being a team player. He just cares about just trying to get over that line. That is my opinion. So really and truly, even if their relationship was healthy, this task, they probably still would have had the same bloody result if you ask me personally. Because that man doesn't think about the teamwork. He doesn't think about the fact that this is a relationship challenge. He thinks about the fact that I just want to win. Okay, so for me personally, whether they're on a good page or not, this would have been the same result. Okay, it's just the only difference would have been that Ari would have been like, oh well, this is what he does. It is what it is. Da 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 da. In this one, she's more like, this is why we are not working, because this man only sees me as somebody that is always trying to control him, rather than somebody that's trying to help him. Now, granted, there has been evidence that yes, it has shown that Ari over the years have tried to control him. But then I do wonder though, does she try and control him purely because this man is always pretty much vacant in their relationship? But let's be real, when you want to relate with somebody who's vacant but you want to be with them, you would try and take charge of the situation. You would try and control the situation so that person can be by your side. If that person showed you the affection that you needed, showed you all those things that touch into your love language in the first place, you'd like to think that Ari would never be in a position where she would have felt the need to want to control him in any kind of format. So really and truly, while it's easy to say that Ari has been the problem the whole time, it is then unfair to then not look at the fact that with Beniam, this man has never really cared to respect any of his wife's wishes. He's only ever cared about pretty much whatever benefits him from those relationships. Like I said before, this man has had 2 American women, kids with both of them, and he has done a poor job at being there for both wives, as well as also being there for both children. He's only ever cared about being there for himself. So despite Ari's attitude and the way she has been and the way she got pregnant and the way everything, this relationship went completely the wrong way, it doesn't mean that Beniam has been innocent throughout the whole thing. Obviously, she has been absolutely in the wrong for a lot of things. Meanwhile, he's also been absolutely wrong in many things as well. You know what I mean? But I'm just saying though, with Benny, it doesn't matter what woman he's with, it doesn't matter how he feels about her. This guy is the same guy you're gonna get every single relationship he's always gonna enter. Point blank, period. Ari, on the other hand, who knows? Either way though, let's move on to the next one. But let me know your thoughts on this one.
I didn't blame the loss on you. I blamed it on people that cheat, not you.
Yeah, but then somehow it turns into you taking it out on me.
I mean, I was motivating him the whole way. I was just like, let's go, we can do it, come on.
It's like,
You know, I want you to remember this, you know, this whole thing here that Sophie says. I was motivating him the whole way and da-da-da-da-da. Let's just remember that, okay? Because I'm sure, let's get into it.
I'm astonished that Gino and Jasmine had such a good day. If only Gino and Jasmine could keep this up, some peace in his relationship. See the power of nature.
It's funny how Robert's got a lot of things to say about other people's relationships, especially Gino and Jasmine's, but yet your relationship is literally not doing well. I mean, funny enough, he says that, look at what being outside and some nature can do for your relationship, all that kind of stuff. Sorry, but wasn't you two also a part of this same experiment and it didn't go well for you? Rob needs to stop focusing on Gino and Jasmine and anybody else and focus on the fact that his relationship is trash. It is literally living in the trash right now.
The beauty of nature is like, just get outside, do stuff together.
Our real relationship too, like, it's like I feel like I'm always telling him what I want him to do. And even though he feels like he's trying his best, I don't feel like he is.
You know what though, that is such a nasty thing to say, to be honest with you. I'm always telling him what to do. First and foremost, why are you with someone that you have to always tell what to do? Secondly, to then say, oh, but I don't feel like he actually ever gives a damn about anything. That is crazy work. So why are you here then? Like, the comments that she's saying is the comments of somebody that has given up in their relationship. It's crazy though, because we have seen evidently that Rob has tried more to save this relationship than Sophie has. All she wants to do is talk, talk, talk. And you know what? What Natalie says next, hit the nail on the head.
Some women, they think, oh, if I'm beautiful, it's automatically I have to do nothing to be happy. But the thing is, your beauty is not enough.
It's funny though, because Natalie's probably speaking from experience. She probably learned this over the years. But either way though, yeah, that is the truth there. You know, that is nothing but the truth. You know, Sophie thinks that she is a gift. She thinks that she's a trophy. She thinks that, you know, she is a prize for any man that comes in her life. And therefore, she has to do less things. And to be honest with you, given that she probably has that mentality, there's only one person, there's only one person who you can blame for that. Well, there's two people. The main person you can blame for that is her mother. Because that means that's how she would have been raised. Okay? But then at the same time, Sophie can also be blamed for that because she has to recognize and mature herself to understand that the way she isn't cool.
Reality of she's holding a ball and just in the front seat, just waiting, and I'm behind her rowing, but she feels like she's doing everything.
She's lazy, that's it.
I won't lie to you, Natalie told no lies there, but that's because she's lazy. That she's lazy. But it's crazy because Rob's talking about the situation, okay? But let's get into it more.
I can be clearer with what I want. It just feels like he doesn't get it.
Sorry, it's fine.
What I'm asking him to do.
Listen, Natalie was on a savage rampage. She was giggling the hell out of Sophie. Yo, this was nasty work. Yeah, Natalie was so wrong for this, but I ain't gonna lie to you, man. I took pleasure in it. I ain't gonna lie to you. Because yeah.
So can you stop laughing while I'm talking?
sorry,
It's extremely rude. Like, everyone's trying to be vulnerable here. Can you have some respect, please?
It's funny though. Sophie says that everybody's trying to be vulnerable here, but to be honest, can somebody tell me one time Sophie's ever been vulnerable? Because each time Sophie talks, all she ever talks about is how Rob is doing her wrong. I've never heard her say anything that is remotely close enough to her taking any accountability for the fact that she is a bigger issue in this relationship. I would argue and say that she's a bigger issue than Rob in this relationship. So she wants to talk about vulnerability. What about each time Rob explained himself? Each time Rob has tried to explain himself, all she's ever done is ignored him and shut him down. And she's talking about vulnerability. Come on now, humble yourself.
A lot of the time, what I am looking for is, like, reassurance. Like, with the worrying thing. I wanted to hear him at the back being like, we got it, I'm doing it. Like, I wanted to hear it back and I didn't.
So going back to what she said at the very beginning, and now we fast forward to what she said here. I mean, listen, this is ridiculous here. Oh, you know, yeah, I was really supporting him. Okay, so why didn't you mention this information back then? Don't lie. You're just saying gobbledygook. So you're telling me because Rob wasn't... So she needs to understand something. In the whole thing, all she was doing was just talking and talking. Oh, go on, Rob. Or she was either praising or she was moaning. Back and forth, back and forth. And because Rob didn't respond at any given time, that's why she's in her feelings? I mean, I understand it to a certain degree, but I don't think it's a legit reason when it comes to Sophie because she's just waffling. Girl just loves to moan.
It's not about you right now. It's about everybody.
Well, Julia definitely wasn't happy with Natalie's behavior. And also, let's talk about this. Who wears this to a freaking day trip kayaking thing? Why is Stacy out there doing a whole modeling shoot? Like, what's going on here? What the hell is going on? Who wears this? This literally reminded me. Oh my goodness gracious me! This is another conversation alone. Let me know your thoughts to this. Who turns? Everybody else was casually dressed for the occasion. Meanwhile, she's dressed like she's going on a freaking beach holiday. Can somebody please explain to me what is going on here? The calamity of this madness is crazy. Listen, I'm just saying. Let me know your thoughts on that one. But at the end of the day, when it comes to Rob and Sophie, you know, their relationship is just dead, isn't it? It is absolutely dead, you know. Any point that Sophie makes is a pointless point because she makes a point to therefore then end up making another point. And when I say a point, what I mean is she'll make a complaint and then make another complaint. No matter what Rob does, whether he succeeds what she is saying, she will then find something new to complain about. But that's all she wants to do. Now they hit the nail on there twice with Sophie in this episode. One, she thinks that her looks are going to get it everywhere. Yeah, Sophie talks about being insecure and all that kind of stuff, but that doesn't mean she's unaware. But that doesn't mean that she's unaware of how she looks. Trust me, she's definitely aware of it. And the other nail on the head that she said is that Sophie's just nothing but flat out lazy. She wants everything done for her. Generation, was it Generation X? Whatever this generation is anyway. But anyway, with that being said, let me know your thoughts and we can talk about it. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and of course, peace.